I'd like to get into this draft, buddy. So up first, guys,
Revenant.
Team FreeMartySnow versus Team Spectre. Marty
Revenant.
Snow has the first ban. If I had to guess, probably going to say Revenant.
Hey! It's epic. It's a good hero. What can you say? It's a good hero. You can't go wrong with banning Revenant, man.
And does that mean we're going to see a ban on FaZe or Moragesh? Most.
Or
likely.
Decker or Bellica. I think all 4 of those heroes are ban-worthy. I think Moragesh, Bellica, FaZe, and Decker are all ban-worthy.
They are all ban-worthy. You are right. But when it comes to strength, I think FaZe right now is definitely on that top of the list. And that's exactly what we see. Team Spectre banning out FaZe, which means Team FreeMartySnow, they've got first pick. Shane, support
Moragesh.
Or carry? Or Moragesh?
I would say Moragesh. That hero's just good hero, man. Her lane presence, her ability to secure kills with her ultimate curse, the utility that comes out of her kit, and yeah, it's going to be the Moragesh. And another great thing about Moragesh is it doesn't reveal all your cards, it doesn't reveal your laning. She can thrive in the off lane just as well as she can in the mid lane. As the draft develops, we'll see what they're going to go with. Team Spectre quickly picking up the Decker, though. They want to get those supports. Something to think about here is that, and I figured the Bellica pick, is FaZe and Decker are the most contested supports. And the thing about FaZe and Decker that is much different about how they scale throughout the game compared to other supports is FaZe and Decker, they actually have the same presence, if not more presence, as the game goes on. While all the other supports, for the most part, actually tend to fall off a little bit as the game goes on. Muriel and Narbash do not have as much of presence in the late game as they do in the early game, but Decker and FaZe sort of always have a really early presence. This draft is moving fast. Chimera and Twin Blast picked up for Team FreeMartySnow. And
Team Spectre picking up the Kwang and Yin. So Kwang could be off lane, Kwang could be jungle. Until we see that final pick, we don't know. Yin, damn good carry. She has got her late game with her Windburn is just a beast. 100% cleave rate, just dealing all the damage. Chimera, we saw Chimera yesterday. A good Chimera can really set up ganks and set up the team fight. Team FreeMartySnow picking up their support. They're going to be picking up Narbash. They're going to be picking up me. Grux or Sevarog for the jungle. I mean, no, they have Chimera. I was looking at the wrong one. Mid lane. Oh, if Team FreeMartySnow, they have one pickup, it's going to be Gideon. It's Mud picking up the Gideon. That is her comfort hero. She plays that hero very well. We saw her yesterday play a really good Gideon game. So Team Spectre, they've got one more pick here.
I would imagine they need someone with a stun to deal with the Gideon. As of right now, the only feasible stun is Seismic Assault, which is not reliable at all because 9 times out of 10, I would say 99 times out of 100, the Gideon's going to be out of range of it. So
they've got a Decker.
Okay. Crunch.
I was not expecting that.
Okay. Crunch with his empowered left crunch actually does have quite a bit of verticality to it. Not exactly not as reliable as you want, but they do have some means to interrupt that black hole. But I mean,
well, they've got stasis bomb. They've got Decker stasis bomb, so they have that there. But if that's used improperly, that's used too early, or Mud just waits for it to be used. They really have no other way. I mean, yes, like you said, empowered right can uppercut and knock her in the air, but all she has to do is go out of the range of that, and that's not too difficult to do. I actually would have liked to see Grux picked up there, Shane, for that Warlords challenge. Yesterday, we saw Mud basically free cast her ultimate, and whether she was picking up the kill with her ultimate, she was allowing her team to pick up 3 or 4 kills with that ultimate. So looking at these drafts, I gotta say, FreeMartySnow, man, with that Chimera, we saw Shugra on Chimera yesterday have a damn good game. He was setting up so many good engagements. If I'm Team Spectre, I would be making sure we're shutting down Chimera and we're trying to deal with that ultimate on Gideon.
I agree, and I think the best tool that they have for shutting down the Chimera is actually Crunch. Crunch is, a lot of people consider him to not necessarily be the best hero, but one thing that he excels at is being when it comes to small skirmishes, 2v2, 3v3s, Crunch actually thrives in that situation. Also 1v1. He's one of the best 1v1 heroes in the game as well. Crunch is a really good tool at dealing with this Chimera, able to interrupt that auto attack to make sure he doesn't get regen too high, but more importantly, has a big amount of burst damage to kill him and survivability built into his kit as well. Early on, these teams already invading each other's, not each other's jungle. This is just Team Spectre going into the jungle. Team FreeMartySnow? No, FreeMartySnow is the name of that team. They're just going to put some wards in there. And I always like this because then you might be able to do some counter jungling, steal a green buff from your opponent, especially. That's really important, especially against an early game jungler like a Chimera.
So, really, really deep warding here, like you said, dealing with that green buff. They do have wards to deward, so I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. They may have one ward up here just left because of line of sight at this white camp. But for the most part, no. Did they not finish dewarding that?
They don't see that other one. They don't see those other ones because the walls are blocking line of sight.
Okay, that was a little bit okay. On my map, I thought it was a visual bug. I didn't see it either. I found it, Shane. So let's talk about the lineup over here. Let's talk about this Yin Moragesh lane. Yin Shane is a late game carry. She comes online around the 25 card part. I mean, she's a carry, so she's online basically throughout the game. But she really gets scary once you start getting those. Once you start getting those card points, once you start seeing her pick up her crit and definitely attack speed, but crit bonus. When she gets online, my headset is freaking out. I apologize, guys. When she comes online, if your team stays grouped up with that Windburn, her ability to basically cleave everybody, her lifesteal on top of crit, she can hit 3 or 4 people and deal 500 to 600 damage on each person. One of the things we need to see FreeMartySnow do is not group up, not put themselves in that situation to where they're grouped up.
No single file lines for them.
Right.
Don't do that.
You don't want to hit everybody because she'll devastate a team. They don't have the phase, so she's not going to have that wonderful ultimate 18-second of unlimited attack speed, but she's still someone they're going to have to really focus on. I expect to see
some trouble here. He should be going down. First blood, easy peasy. That's just Colombian Gamer simply pushing up a little bit too far forward, not respecting the early game harassment of Narbash. Twin Blast and gets punished accordingly.
So this is a best of 3, Shane. We're finally down to the best of 3s. So, I mean, this is one of those where you can kind of test the waters. What can you get away with early? Because if you lose this game, you're not necessarily out. Push this team. Mid lane, there's an engagement here. Sugar on Itchy Heartache. He's going to leap onto him, but it doesn't look like he's going to get anything out of it. Crunch is there.
He's able to crunch forward. Actually, he's only level 2, so he more than likely doesn't have crunch forward. Kwang's able to secure the kill, though. Chimera gets a little bit aggressive, and the Kwang rotation is what secured that kill. If it wasn't for that, the more than likely would have gotten away. Now, Faded Rend aggressively positioned, and he's just going to get collapsed on. Maybe he was looking for a catching someone off in between the tier 1 and the tier 2 tower. These guys are going at it pretty early here, but as of right now, Team Spectre, I see what they're trying to do here, but it's not the cleanest rotations in the world, and they are giving up some maybe unnecessary kills in the meantime. Patriot pursuing Colombian Gamer, but he's out of mana. No more grenade spam from here, and looks like they're gonna fall back to their lanes. First exchange, it's 3-2, already 4 minutes into the game.
Moragesh has already picked up 2 kills. She picked up the Decker, and she picked up the Yin. Narbash is going to fall as well in the jungle. He was playing Ring Around the Rosie. I don't know if you saw that there, but he was playing Ring Around the Rosie in the jungle, and Kwang just chased him around, so they ended up picking up that kill.
Crunch already picking up a Radiant Mantle. That's a pretty early Radiant Mantle, but it's an excellent card on a hero like Crunch, Kwang, Feng Mao. It's almost a standard card to be picked up on him. Just going to give him a little bit of sustained damage, which complements his burst damage as well. And also gives him a little bit of survivability as well. You can build some health into it if need be. I doubt we'll see any mana being built into that. The 30 mana is just some secondary stats. But already getting rid of his key, though, means he might not have the best means of sustainability inside of the jungle, but he has done a decent job of making sure these camps don't get too big. He's not fighting 5-stack camps or anything like that. So with that being said, he actually should be able to clean these camps up relatively quickly. 5 minutes, the river buff just spawned, but Faded, only in half HP. Really not going to be able to contest that. Not the biggest steal in the world. Gold buff just spawned as well. It looks like both gold buffs went to the corresponding safe lane duo.
So I want to take just a second there and point out Sugra on Chimera. While Mud rotated off to pick up the river buff, Sugra stayed in that mid lane. He didn't hard push the lane. He picked up 1 or 2 kills. And the reason he did that was to give himself that unshared card, not card power, level experience to hit his 5 faster. Because he's been doing a lot of rotating. So he's getting extra experience where he can. Mud left. He helped set the lane, helped do a little bit of damage. Got that experience and backed off. He wants 5. The moment we see Sugra hit 5, Shane, he is going to be in people's faces. We saw him yesterday bully the mid lane. That was his objective for the first about 16 minutes. He bullied the mid lane hard. They picked up 3 or 4 kills in that mid lane, and then we started to see Mud rotate around with Sugra as well. So expect to see that out of Sugra this game as well.
I really like a small divergence from what we normally see on Remachang. Normally we see that circle of health, but instead he's going with a circle of mana, which is pretty much the mana version of the circle of health. And the reason I really like that is because Twin Blast's early game damage, especially lane harass and lane clear, is from his grenades. So giving him that extra mana regen will just enable him to spam those grenades even more. Any other carry, and I'd be like, you probably should get a circle of health. But actually that circle of mana benefits Twin Blast in a very grand way, as well as also supplementing the Song of My People heal that comes out of Narbash, which is a really great other means of lane sustain through its heal over time.
6 minutes into the game, we've got the third set of river buffs spawning. Faded Ren is in a little bit of trouble here. Both Morigesh and Mud on Gideon were standing there. Revenant does, or not, sorry, not Revenant. Crunch does pick up that red buff, and there was just a little bit of damage, but he's going to be safe here. He is sitting at level 5. Sugra also sitting at 5. Expect to see some engages coming out of Faded Ren now that he has that ultimate online.
And with the red buff, it's going to be falling off here, but red buff on Crunch is actually really, really scary. He already does a devastating amount of damage in the early and mid game. You give him that red buff, and all of a sudden his combo is just knocking nerds up in the air, and next thing you know, you're dead. Yin and Decker more than likely going to be able to pick up the offlane tower here on the right side of the map. Always want to see that fall for the Dawn side prior to level, not level 10, but the 10 minutes, and they're going to be able to, if so desire, rotate over, switch the lanes, and get themselves in position for the Raptors. Again, though, the Raptors, they aren't as much of a priority that they used to be for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, because they don't give as much card experience as they used to, but more specifically, teams are just starting to navigate the strategical depth of Monolith a little bit more and starting to find small wins not outside of the Raptors. Nonetheless, always a high point of contention, and expect to see some warding and posturing around that 10 to 12 minute mark, especially if one team support's able to hit 5 before the other.
So one of the things I want to talk about in the mid lane here, Shane, and I'm going to try and get today, is the healer token.
Oh no, don't say the healer. Oh no.
I'm doing it. Mud's running 2 of those healer tokens, plus she has a health pot. Now, 2 healer tokens. Itchy Heartache can be aggressive here, but it's really not going to matter because the amount of health regen that Mud's going to pick up. 7.6 just from the healer tokens. Then you add the health on top of that. And it allows her to take a little bit more damage in this lane and be a little bit more aggressive because she knows she's going to regen that
is
health.
Getting really aggressive. Faded has got his combo off, and he's already very low. The Fury of the Heavens is going to secure the kill, but Colombian Gamers now surrounded by 4 team members of Team FreeMartySnow.
Good rotation.
They're going to be able to pick up those 2 kills right there. Faded Ren was very close to being able to pick up Sugar, but just it was an unfavorable fight, and they pick up pretty much the entire front line of Team FreeMartySnow. They're going to be back on the field for 15 seconds. I don't expect Raptors to be rotated on just because Team FreeMartySnow pretty wounded, and they did have to use some ultimates for that fight.
So river buff spawn. Mud picked up that river buff to restore some of the mana. They really need to kill this drone behind her here because it's just draining mana away.
It's just droning on.
Just droning on. Stop it.
Got him.
So they picked up those 2 kills. Like you said, they're not going to be able to go get Raptors because Raptors aren't up for another 10 seconds. But the big thing is the rotations out of Team FreeMartySnow.
That would be another reason why they couldn't take Raptors.
That's probably the main reason. But the rotations were on point. Good rotation from their off lane, good rotation from their mid lane, making sure Sugra doesn't die, and they picked up those 2 kills, which early game, it's 2 kills, but It's 2 important kills with our front line and showing, hey, we know how to rotate. So pick your engagements wisely, Team Spectre, because we will collapse and we know how. So good rotations. As we look at the card power here and last hitting, we've got, I want to compare the carries right now. Yin at 52, Patriot both at 52, so both doing a good job farming. Patriot does have that 1 kill, but again, 15 to 15 card power. Raptors are now up 10 minutes, 44 seconds in the game. When do you think we're going to see these guys make a play at Raptors? I know a lot of the teams, about 14 minutes is where we've seen it. Are we expecting something around there? Are we looking for a pick? What do you think they're going to do?
I always look at the support levels, both supports at level 4, with Decker being about 2/3 of the way through, Narbash about 1/3 of the way through. So a small discrepancy between the supports, but they should hit level 5 within about a minute of each other, assuming standard laning, soaking, so on and so forth. And yeah, there's the wars going down, teams posturing here. Taking a look at Fated's build, he has that Radiant Mantle that we talked about, but he's starting to build up those Madstone gems, as we expect him to see. While looking at Sugar, he has that Armivore online, which is a card pretty much suited for Chimera, as he is actually fairly mana intensive with Ambush costing 75 mana on a hero that doesn't really have much mana scaling. So the Chimera doesn't have actual damage items online, but his kit, that's okay. The way he scales early on is his damage on his auto attacks is early enough. Fated is going to be the one leading the charge inside. He's got to be very careful. The call immediately going down on him. I know if they use any sort of damage, he's going to get torn apart by the time he's able to do anything. There's the black hole going in. Mud using it, being patient, and again, there's no interrupt for it. And going to be able to secure the kill onto the Bellica. Only the support for Team FreeMartySnow to fall, and that's okay. Sugar, very wounded though, not healthy enough to take down these Raptors, and now Colombian Gamer goes in, and he picks up a kill onto Sugar. Wounded, saw the blood, smelled the blood in the water, and was able to get in there like a shark and pick up the kill. So a 2-for-2 exchange, very even, but I would say maybe a small advantage over to Team I almost said it again, Team FreeMartySnow. Team FreeMartySnow. They've had a little bit higher priority kills, but still, both those teams evenly matched thus far in the first real big engagement of this match.
TB, actually, Patriot, I just want to point it out, decided to go after Decker instead of help his team in that moment. They probably could have picked up
That's my boy. That's what I'm saying.
But TB was like, nope, I'm going to chase you. And Decker ended up getting away. I would have liked to see Patriot stay at that Raptor pit and pick up another Raptor, or possibly keep Sugar alive when Colombian Gamer overextended to pick up that kill.
Well, if you think about it, it makes sense that Patriot pursued the Decker, and just hear me out for a second. If you remember the movie The Patriot, Mel Gibson was in the middle of a fight, and he literally stopped what he was doing with hundreds of people around him fighting to kill that one English guy. So I think that makes sense. Patriot just living up to his name and role-playing accordingly.
I mean, if you put it that way, it still makes very little sense.
Are you telling me The Patriot was a bad movie?
No, Patriot was one of the greatest movies ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
As we progress into the 13-minute mark. Okay, so we talked about this yesterday. This was one thing we noticed the other day. One Raptor has been killed. These Raptors won't respawn until all 3 Raptors are down. This is a huge objective. It's a lot of card power they're just leaving on the map.
Oh, wow. Sugar's being quite risky here. He's diving underneath the tier 1 tower. He used the call on the Crunch. The reason I thought that was really risky is because Crunch had the green buff. He was taking the tower and took the explosion damage from the green buff. If it wasn't for that green buff, Fated more than likely would have died. The Hive, more than likely not going to be enough damage. Curse was used as well. The Siege is going to be defended here. The green buff paying off in dividends right there for Crunch. If it wasn't for that, he would have died. The Curse would have either killed him or the call would have killed him, and Sugar would still be healthy. So pick up those green buff, boys, because you never know how is it going to pay off.
Also, come get these Raptors. Leaving these on the map, they're denying themselves 1,800 card power every 4 minutes. They really need to get these
card level again.
Nope, not this time. They're denying themselves a lot of card power by not getting these picked up. Fated was going to go in. He's decided to engage here. He's got to be careful. The tether does miss. They're still pursuing Patriot.
He doesn't have the empowered Crunch. If he had the empowered left Crunch to get the uppercut, that could have been a kill. Now they're starting to collapse over here on Narbash. Narbash still not level 5. 14 minutes in, so he's definitely suffering for card levels. Imagine if there was a crash bang boom in that fight at the Raptors. That could have been the difference maker. At this point, he's just trying to survive a little bit longer for his team to rotate and maybe trying to find something going, but he's going to be picked up here. But yeah, Narbash definitely struggling for levels with Decker being level 6 already to his level 4, so that could be a big deal, especially, as I mentioned, Decker's presence as the game goes on pretty much remains the same, actually becomes a little bit more impactful, while Narbash really starts to fall off. So that's not a situation you want to be in with these two supports.
So that kill is going to allow Yin to come over, pick up 2 Raptors. Raptors will spawn again right at the 19-minute and 30-second mark. But that's card power headed over to Yin. River buffs are now up. Does look like Faded Ren has that purple. Are they going to use this and look for a gank with the mid lane now destroyed? They have the potential to find a kill here. Let's see if they can do it.
Sugar just going, he's not building almost any damage whatsoever. He's strictly going, he went from the sustain of his jungle key into the armorvore, now building into some armor. A little bit of damage on those growth items that you're able to pick up like Venom Shell, but for the most part, he really hasn't built any damage at all outside of his ward. And if you saw, he used the call on Decker, and Decker was like, "Sure, I'm just gonna use Quenching Scales," and completely mitigated it. So,
he
Sugar
actually
not really
picked up,
not being the assassin Chimera,
yeah,
but more so being a nuisance and control Chimera, which is what his role transitions to in the mid late game, anyways.
He picked up 2 Venom Shells yesterday, very early on, and then transitioned into, I don't remember his third card off the top of the head, but he picked up 2 very early Venom Shells and was just in the face of the carry the entire time. It was like they were dealing no damage. Patriots got to be trouble here. Faded Ren just melted him. Wow.
There you go. That's what you expect to see out of the Crunch, but Crunch has no mana. Actually, Itchy Heartache, underneath the drone, the black hole was used, and so Mud had no mana, and Itchy punished him hard, especially with that level 2 Neural Disruptor. Now here comes Sugar from the jungle, immediately latching onto the Yin. Yin uses that Whiplash to get away, and there's going to be no more pushing for that engagement. But you saw the strength of Crunch. If he's able to latch onto a squishy target, like a Moragesh or like a Twin Blast, he's going to be able to get a kill. That's exactly what happened. Not only did they pick up the Twin Blast, but they also picked up the Gideon. So Team Spectre finally taking a obviously favorable engagement. Most of these engagements thus far have been fairly even.
Yeah, picking up 2. I don't know if they're going to get any major objectives off this. Raptors still down for 2 minutes. They do have minions. Minion wave that is set now, but with people rotating to the mid lane, they are going to clear that up pretty effectively. So we're not going to see any damage come out to the tier 2 tower. River buffs will be spawning in 86 seconds. We need to see, I'd like to see a little bit deeper warding, Shane. The wards are pretty much relegated to their jungle right now. Try and get some of those wards in the enemy jungle. See if you can't find a pick. One of the things we're seeing is, like you said, even exchanges. I'd love to see them take a pick and then pressure a lane. They just don't have the warding to do that.
There's always that little lull around the 10 to 20-minute mark where you've taken tier 1 towers, but not yet hit enough power spikes into respective heroes to feel confident enough to push down a tier 2 tower, and that's where the Raptors really come into play. We have seen some teams do very early orb primes, but generally only if they have a significant lead and just took a favorable engagement. But don't be surprised if we do see one team ace the other, that they immediately rotate to the orb prime even this early on, especially when you have 2 heroes on each side, which are really good at A, taking the orb prime, and B, killing the orb prime, with Crunch on the side of Team Spectre and Team FreeMartySnow with having the Chimera.
So 18 minutes into the game right now, we're at that point where we're looking at a point where most of these teams, Shane, we've seen this a lot this weekend, they'll look for a pick or some sort of engagement and then go for a very early orb prime. I mean, this is, it's not uncommon to see that. Do you think that's something we'll see here?
Faded's in a lot of trouble. Mud's going to try to get that. No burden. The auto attack landed, but wasn't enough damage, and he was able to forward crunch away, or as I like to call it, the reverse crunch. Crash, bang, boom. He's going to isolate Kwong. They're using a lot of ultimates on him, and if he's able to get out of here, he might be able to finally, Sugar's going to be able to confirm the kill. Mud gets taken out, though, because, again, no mana. You are just a delicious dinner for any sort of Bellica player. So they used Crash, Bang, Boom, Black Hole, and Curse just on the Kwong. If you use that many ultimates to take one pick off, then you're going to be out of gas for these team fights. That's exactly what's going to happen. That was a beautiful stasis bomb. Hit 2 people, the Chimera and the Narbash. Allowed Gin to close the gap and whip it, and able to pick up yet another kill. So Team Spectre, they've been on the back foot for, it feels like, most of this game, but now after those kills, should be able to pick up an objective here. Raptors not spawning for another 30 seconds, but maybe try to push a tier 2 tower, clean up the map. Either way, they have at minimum some breathing room to work with here.
Yeah, clean up the map, go back if they need to, spend that card power. Patriot, while that engagement was happening, was kind of off doing, again, he was
Mel Gibson things.
Zoned out. He's doing Mel Gibson things. He was zoned out, ended up getting picked up and killed there. But 4 ultimates put them in a bad situation. Like you said, that double stasis bomb into the quivering gale, quelling gale of Yin, pushing everybody back and picking up another kill.
That's for PCL After Dark.
Yeah, the quivering gale, PCL After Dark.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that name came about. It was quenching scales, quivering gale.
You said it on your stream. It was shortly after Yin came out and you were playing her. I remember because I was watching and you said, "Oh yeah, guys, somebody used the quivering gale," in chat. You had no idea you said it, and then your chat like was blowing up, and yeah, that's pretty much where it came from. That's the origin of that meme.
I think it's going to stay that way forever. I really need to petition Epic to start changing some of these names. The other engagement here, Raptors are up. They're trying to take these Raptors. There is a rotation coming. I don't know if they're going to be able to get there in time. Patriots
they're zoning
picked up one already.
Yeah, they're zoning decently well right now. They're able to pick up one. Sugar is still taking the Raptor damage, and now is by himself. They're going to use a lot of CC on him and just absolutely blow him up. That's, again, the power of Crunch. If you're able to isolate a target, he knocks him up and takes him down. And now the big frontliner and nuisance on the side of Team FreeMartySnow is down, and this is going to allow Team Spectre just to walk into the jungle and start picking up kills. Patriot's been found as well. Crunch gets another kill. 3 go down right away. Team Spectre in a great position. Bellica picking up the kill to Morgesh as well. The lone survivor's Mud. And with 4 going down and Team Spectre relatively healthy, able to pick up the green buff, is either tier 2 or prime is what I'm saying right here. And it looks like they might be making their way to or prime. Yin is healthy, has the green buff. Decker has plenty of mana, and that's what they're going to be doing here. They got to do this quick, though, because Chimera's back on the map in 10 seconds, as well as Narbash.
I want Mud to stand right on this side of the wall and
you're
try
right.
and steal it. She can do it.
Has she watched the Geronimo Jack movie? She hasn't watched the Geronimo Jack movie. She hasn't watched Geronimo Jack's video. Not gonna get it.
That was melted 21 minutes into the game. That or Prime fell very quickly. Prime time, boys. Prime card is now activated for the side of Team Spectre. They have themselves a card advantage. Yin at 33 card power. Patriot at 29. Doesn't sound like much. Well, the moment you factor in that additional 30 card power coming from the Prime card, it's quite a lead here. Set those lanes. Possibly siege down mid, which is what we see very common. I'd love to see them siege down either the safe lane or the off lane and give themselves a little bit more map control the next time or prime spawns if they don't push and win here. But big advantage for these guys. Now it's just how well can Team FreeMartySnow defend their towers. Are we going to see them make a stand at T1, Tier 2? Probably not. Keep that inhibitor alive is the best play here.
Both of these teams have really good tools at dealing with sieges and also sieging themselves. Obviously, Black Hole and Crash Bang Boom is very threatening to go underneath a tower, a Tier 2 tower or inhibitor. But at the same time, on their side of the field, Team Spectre, they're really good at picking people off underneath the tower, whether it be the containment fence from Decker, the tether into Fury of the Heavens from Kwong, or obviously Fated just casually charging forward and knocking someone up. Seismic Assault for Bellica can catch out targets as well. So as far as these teams' ability to siege and defend sieges, I would say it's relatively even. But again, it's the prime card that's going to make the big difference here. The Tier 2 middle is the one that's under siege. Morgesh is off on the other side having to deal with that lane. Yin rotating around, looking for a flank as they have engaged the containment fences there. Black Hole's going off, but the Stasis Gem is going to be able to avoid the death for now. Decker is, and that is barely going to be able to get away using those rocket boots. Now Fated and Colombian, they're the ones in the front line. They're the ones diving the inhibitor. The Tier 2 tower has not yet fallen, sure to fall here in just a moment. 4 go down at a moment's notice, and now all the lanes are pushed in. Going to be able to pick up these Tier 2 towers, and they should, as long as they play this right, be able to pick up an inhibitor here. Look at Fated. He's still underneath the core. He's looking for Morgesh. He's got to be careful. That curse.
Nasty bait.
Curse went off right there. That could have been the death of him, but he was able to kill Morgesh before she was able to get the cast off.
Shane, he just stood here and waited. He said, come on. I know you can see me. Come get me. She showed up, and the amount of damage coming out of Fated right there, that is going to be... They picked up 5. Narbash did just respawn, but the big thing, of course, is they picked up an inhibitor, they picked up a second Tier 2 tower, and they still have the ability to pick up this last inhibitor.
I think they're going to be able to.
Second inhibitor, I should say. If they
they're more than likely going to be able to.
Got to get out clean, though.
Colombian Gamers in the front line taking the tower. Sugar's on him. Oh, yep. He's going to use the Stasis Gem. Maybe the Siege Minion? No, there is no Siege Minion. Itchy Heartache trying to do it as well, but I don't think they're going to be able to. A miscommunication is going to result in 2 deaths for them. I think if they committed to that, they wouldn't be able to get it. But yeah, the big question is if they all 5 committed to it, they more than likely would have got the inhibitor. But you always want to be concerned about counter pushing if all 5 you get wiped out, especially at the stage where respawn timers are exceeding 30 to 45 seconds. There might have been some counter pushing. Still, they're going to be happy about that. They got mid inhibitor, and Raptors are up as well, so if they want to stabilize, they can choose to take that objective as well, especially now with Yin approaching her lifesteal and really approaching her big power spike, the mid-40s, where she really just starts dishing out all the damage that you talked about earlier, Notch.
Yeah, so we're 25 minutes, about 25 and a half minutes into this game here. Shane, we saw one inhibitor down. That's not a death sentence.
Yeah, they're right here underneath the tier 2 tower. We see the crash bank boom going. Not quite yet. They're looking to engage underneath this tier 2 tower. And there they go. There's the crash bang boom. Faded's tanking, get knocked up in the air. He's got to be careful. He has to crunch away. But actually, he beats the Morgash. The Morgash actually blocked the crunch, the forward crunch that would have secured his means of egress. Whether that's intentional or not, it was still fortuitous. With Crunch being offline, this is going to be a counter push coming from Team FreeMartySnow. And they've done a good job. They lost on their inhibitor, but they're still maintaining their composure. Just like that, Kwong goes in there and uses the Fury of the Heavens to secure a kill on the Morgash. Mud's casting that black hole, but every time black hole has been casted, a Belkadrome goes down immediately. And sure, Mud has been getting decent and high valuable black holes off, but every time she comes out of it, she's very low on mana and either dies to the ultimate or just can't do anything else. They're continuing to pursue Mud, but Yen's sitting in the back line just trying to get stragglers, and they're going to be able to pick up Sugar as well. So once again, 4 go down for Team FreeMartySnow. They're looking for Ramachang. I would say it's not really worth pursuing the Narbash for too long, as they are going to get him. Glad they didn't pursue him for too long. But yet again, Team Spectre take another favorable engagement here, and they are really in full control of this match thus far. They put themselves in a great position, and this is their game to lose.
So I like the counter push coming out of FreeMartySnow. The issue was the counter push. They had targets that were low on health. Kwong came in, picked up a very early kill. Like you said, Mud, she hit 3 or 4 with that target, or with that black hole, but they just pursued. They ended up getting all 5. Nothing really came out of that from FreeMartySnow other than being wiped. They weren't able to get any tier 2 towers down. They weren't really able to apply much pressure on the map. And you just continue to feed Team Spectre. That's card power that if they would have backed off a few minutes earlier, Team Spectre wouldn't have got. You've restabilized. You've restabilized. You've given your chance. You've given yourself a chance to gain a little bit of map control and farm up while that mid inhibitor is down. That's a sizable wave that's going to be dealt with here by Colombian Gamer. I say give it to Yin. Give your Yin that card power, but he is going to pick up that kill. Looking at 46 card power on Yin. Patriot's sitting at 41, so he's not terribly far behind. We just need to see better engagements coming out of FreeMartySnow.
I agree. Interesting pickup here. A card, a relatively new card, well, not new card, but one of the more recently changed cards on Crunch of Nanoplasm. You really wouldn't expect that card to be put on Crunch of all people. But when you really think about it, a majority of his damage comes from his abilities. So he's going to have a little bit of lifesteal, and it does grant him some power as well. So we'll see how that card's able to... I don't know. I've never seen that card on Crunch before. In theory, I think it'll be pretty good, but it's completely reliant on him being able to cycle his abilities as frequently as he can. And these fights have been over so soon. One team just either wins or loses within the first 5 seconds. Not sure if the card's going to get as much value as Faded is looking to get. Otherwise, he's transitioning into that tank Crunch as we would expect. That's fairly standard out of him. And again, even though it's a tank Crunch, ladies and gentlemen, you can't discount the amount of damage that he's still able to put out with a survivable a build centering itself around survivability. He's still a big threat.
So one of the cards I'd like to see Mud pick up here pretty quickly is a Tainted Magic. Tainted Magic on Gideon is just absolutely devastating. If she's able to hit, she's been hitting 3 or 4 people at a time. It does 8% of their total health, or 8% of their health when she casts it. So in the initiation, current health. When she initiates with that card, you can just chunk people down on top of card, Nanoplasm that will give her the heals. She can sit there forever. She's not going to take a ton of damage. She's going to deal a ton of damage to the team and allow for easy cleanup.
It's just getting melted down right here. For rotating, the
Good
containment fence quick, beautifully done. Mud is able to blink forward. Faded does get the Orb Prime, but this black hole just doesn't matter anymore. They kill her through it. The power of the Orb Prime is the big difference maker here. It was a good Orb Prime, but that containment fence, that was just a bait right there, waiting for him to bend around that corner and got 4 of them in there. The only hope of stealing that was coming out of the Gideon, and they isolated and killed him. Patriot's the only survivor right now. He's trying to get away, but Itchy Heartache is trying to chase him down. Blinks forward. Seismic Assault, don't even need it. Yin whips him one more time. All 5 are down. That's a quadra for the Yin. And this should be the game number 1. Go down the gut of mid lane, clean up the core. Beautifully done by Team Spectre right there. They just they were waiting for him to come around that corner right there. That containment fence single-handedly won them that game with that engagement.
Yeah, that containment fence is set up this push right here. She got basically everybody once they picked that up. Mud rifted over top of it and hit that black hole. They deleted her off just deleted her. She was there for 1 second. They're like, oh, okay, you're dead. And then clean up and push down the throat and win. Really, really good game. So this is a best out of 3, Shane. This is the first time we've seen this during this particular event. We were doing group stages. We're now best out of 3. We saw FreeMartySnow yesterday put on a better show than we just saw here. This wasn't a horrible show from them. Just some questionable engagements. We didn't see a lot of value out of that black hole. Team Spectre was just like, nah, feel free, cast away. I would like to see a little bit more aggression out of Sugra, like we saw yesterday in his game against Hoist the Colors. It was kind of lacking. But Crunch, Shane, we don't see a lot of Crunch. Crunch really did a damn good job this game, picking up meaningful kills, good engagements out of Crunch, and of course, comboing that with a stasis bomb, they were able to just blow up a target. So congratulations, Team Spectre. They've taken game number 1. We do have another game from these guys here in just a moment. Fun first game. Thank you guys for watching Paragon Competitive League. Thank you for supporting the competitive scene of Paragon. We're going to take just a quick break as we set up another replay and get back into these matches with these guys. Stick around. We'll see you guys in just a minute.
Hot dog.